I am very, very happy with what Spanky has been able to do with the squirrel cam. She's definitely she lowers your blood pressure. She does for me as well. And I'll tell you something, people. You all lower my blood pressure, and um, you are such an important part of my sobriety. My goodness. My goodness. I had 91 beers in January. $230. How did I get to this point? Well, you started with 2 or 3, right? Way back in the day. I mean, you started with 2 or 3. I remember buying my first bag of heroin, and I paid $40 for it, and it lasted me about 8 days. And then I got to a point where each shot cost about $125, right? And I had to do about 6 of them every day, 5 of them every day. The good news is that you are very well aware of the fact that you have an issue, right? Awareness is not an issue for you, love. And that's a beautiful thing, right? It really is. It is an absolutely beautiful thing when you're not, having any kind of an illusion or delusion that this isn't an issue, right? 91 beers is an issue, right? This isn't where you want to be. Okay. Step. Let's finding out the problem. The second step, right, will be working on eliminating it. Right? This is not always the easiest thing in the world to do, right? But if you don't start, 100 out of 100 people who don't start fail. I promise. 100 out of 100 that do not make an attempt to get sober will continue to get loaded, right? And I'm not lying. I'm not lying. I titled tonight's show, "Hey, do me a favor and help me not get loaded," right? It's been a mother of about a 2 or 3 day period of time, and I know it has been for my son, and I know it has been for my family. It's just always hard. Moving is just a difficult thing to do, and I will be really honest with you, right? There are issues, right? There are issues with being me. So I'm going into some places with Calhouni, and he's new to the area, so his renting history is from other states. And so if there was any need for co-signing, I said, yeah, not a problem, and I certainly make enough money where this won't be an issue, right? And I can get Spanky squared away with no problem. And then the question comes up, right? We're going to need $300 deposit, and we need this in a money order. This is non-refundable. I said, what? Actually, I did. But Spanky said, what could get that kicked back, right? Like what would cause this to to get screwed over? Well, guess what? One of them is. Take a guess. A felony. Do you have a felony in your background? Well, so as I started to go into the other ones, I started to say things like, hey, how you doing? Is the fact that I robbed a crap load of banks going to be an issue as far as me trying to help a family member move in here, right? I just want to help a family member move in here, right? This isn't even going to be me living here, right? It's a thing. It's a thing. And you know what? People, oh man, I am ready to shave this damn mustache. It's driving me nuts today. The truth of the matter is, it's just part of life, and like everything I tell people, right? It comes down to how much effort are you willing to put in, right? To virtually everything. How much effort are you willing to put in? Because if you're willing to put in enough effort, you're going to get to that one person that goes, how many banks did you rob? And I said, a bunch of them. And the person said, "You're not still in that line of work, are you?" I said, "No, oddly enough, now, I try to help people stay sober, and I try to help people get off, drugs." I said, "I do that on YouTube." And the person said, "Yeah, what's the name of the channel?" And I said, "The Lifeboat." And the person pulled up the lifeboat and said, "Well, fill out the papers. How long has it been since you got arrested for doing this? Has it been, over 7 years?" I said, "Yeah, it sure has." So we could probably push this through. But boy, oh boy, I wanted to quit on number, I don't know, 7 or 8, right? And I'm sure that my son and my brother probably wanted to quit on number 2, right? Because I am not like, you see this. I even said this today to my boy. This is not what this is not. This is what you see, right? And I hate to be like that, right? I really do. I hate to be like that, but um, I lost it. I lost it 2 or 3 times today, and it's I'm happy that I'm getting better. I really am. But you know what? I'm still getting better. I am. And these things that get to be tough, these things that feel like they're really starting to start trying to weigh you down. Inevitably, the little voice in the back of your head says, "You know what? Just one, you know, take the edge off and you won't worry about any of this. And you'll be so damn relaxed, you'll have it taken care of in 5 minutes." Look at rock stars, right? It certainly helps them relax and go out on stage, right? Holy hell. But that's the kind of thought processes that happen, unfortunately, when you spend decades of your doing stupid things. Um, it's a difficult process, but I'm not kidding you when I say I come here and I tell you what's going on, because this is very much one of the things that keeps me sober, right? I'm not playing. This is absolutely one of the things that keeps me sober. And I say that because I get angry. And, I talk about how before you lay down to go to sleep at night, you're going to get this stuff out of your dome, right? You're not going to lay down with that anger, and you're going to organize what happened during the day, and you're going to get it into some semblance of order, so that when we put our head on a pillow, and as we start to go into sleep, that the subconscious can go to work, maybe try to put Tommy back together again, right? This is the concept behind the journaling. Well, I do a great deal of that here, right? And as I tell people all the time, right? Please do not suffer in silence, right? So I'm trying to not I'm not going to suffer in silence. I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, you know what? Today's a day I really would have loved to have just said F it and got loaded. I'm not gonna. Chris, on Hulu, the name of the show is Hot Stuff. Hot Stuff? I think it's Hot Stuff. Shows you again. You would think I would know the name of the reality show that my brother was in. Super Hot. It's called Super Hot. I'm sorry. Thank you, Calhoun. Thank you. Try Super Hots. I think you're going to do better with that. Super Hots is what chili heads refer to peppers once they get past a certain Scoville rating. In other words, the kind of pepper a normal person would never eat, right? Those are super hots. And they're the kind that my odd brother absolutely loves, man. Literally loves, right? And the crazy thing is, Spanx Calhoun is a chili head. Like true story, man. Spanky's a chili head. He has so much fun with his uncle. Like the two of them instantly just, they get down to business and grab tincture and talk about different burns and different peppers. And what's nuts is that my son seems to have a palate, right? Very cool. I'm not that guy, man. I never. You watch people that talk about the tannins and the you're picking up notes of this or that. There were jokes we joked like that in prison because the stuff you were making, the toilet merlot, you would take a sip and talk about it's a little pretentious. Oh, I'm sorry. That used to make me laugh. Plant Freak says, Captain, this keeps me sober too. Everyone's strength gives me more strength and hope for myself that I can make it through this storm. God bless you, Plant Freak. Whatever God you believe in, God bless you. I love that. I really do. The power greater than ourselves can be 322 people all pulling in the same direction, trying for connection. Thank you, by the way, Barb, SPTV Tattoo Warrior, sent me the shirt that says "The Connection, Dude," and I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I am pretty damn fond of the shirt that says the Connection, Dude on it. You know what I mean? Not for nothing, but this is a shirt that absolutely is gonna get. Hang out with the fleas and the addicts. You know what, Christy? This is a good one. This is a good one. Do you know that? I haven't taken a shot at this. I have not low-hanging fruit. I have not taken a shot at them because I don't want to do any damage, right? I really don't want to do any damage. But people are even butchering that, not you, by the way. But the expression obviously is if you lie down with dogs, you get up with fleas, right? That's the expression. And it usually is a bust to say that hanging out with guys like me, right? It has been used recently, right? Um, it has been used recently to describe some people in the SPTV community, good people in the SPTV community. And oddly enough, the person that said it is also in the SPTV community. So once again, these geniuses doing a circular firing squad. Not a good thing. But on the bright side, there's not much of it. There really isn't. And it's the old guard. It's the old guard. The new crew. The new crew is seems to get along. And you know what? They're making things happen. They really are. Say what you will. And I've said this, man. I'm not a big fan of that expression either, Christy. You know why? Because I'm always the damn dog they're talking about. Right? What a great question. Joe Cooter. Sorry, Calhoun. Will you pull that back up for me? That was my bad, Spanky. Thank you. This is a great question. Do you have any thoughts on compassionate confrontation? I'm considering joining the protests, and I think you may have some good advice. I love that you're asking this advice from me. I'll be honest. I don't pretend to have. I don't pretend to believe that I can be good at this, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm not violent by nature. I swear to God, I'm not. But I spent a long time in a place where violence was really a part of the fabric of the day-to-day life of where you lived. And because of that, when you get into situations and things begin to escalate on the inside, that doesn't happen. There's no escalating. It goes from 0 to 110 miles an hour that fast, right? People start throwing punches. They start stabbing each other. There's not a lot of talking. There's not a lot of jaw jacking. And, I'm going to get you. And, you're this, and there's just not a lot of that happening. So when I have found myself in situations where confrontation is part of it. I'm bad at this. I'm going to get arrested. And I'm going to get arrested just how they want me to. They're going to taunt me and I'm going to punch him and they're going to win. But, I'm going to tell you my opinion. That's all this is, my opinion. But my opinion is that that scumbag organization, right, had somebody attack one of the Squirrel Squad and try to make it look like it was a robbery. As a guy that spent a pretty good chunk of his life as a criminal, that dude didn't look like anybody that was trying to rob anybody. I promise you, right? That's not how it goes down. It's a business-like thing, right? That whatever the hell that was, right? That wasn't a robbery. Sorry, it wasn't. So, but I have been a little bummed out. This is my advice. If you're going to go out and do this, and I think it's an awesome thing to do, right? But I love when people educate and do so in a way that they're not hurting people. Danny's mom, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate the kindness and the generosity. I really do. Watching somebody confront someone and do it in a way, I'll be really honest, right? It's a dying art. And very often the people that you're talking to are going to not speak to you because they believe that you are the most dangerous thing on the planet, right? You're part of this, very small percentage that makes all of the bad crap on planet Earth happen, right? For real. I mean, we're not just bad folk. We're bad folk. You feel me? We're really bad folk. We're scary to them. Miss Sunrise Dawn. Thank you, Tommy and crew, for being the connection I didn't know I needed. Sending so much love to y'all. I'll tell you what, I didn't know I needed this either. You know what? Plant Freak. Tomorrow makes 3 months leaving my situation. Now I see and realize with everything happening, I wanted to run, but I'm here for a reason. It's just time to make noise and educate, just to figure out how. You know what? I love it. I really do. I love it. Listen, there's going to be a lot of time. You're talking to my son a lot. He's a grown man, right? My son is not, and it's so hard when you're a father to treat your son like a grown man, right? Because you changed his diapers. You know what I mean? And I remember a day that my son was terrified of the rain. I mean, in a way that you cannot imagine. I mean, could not imagine. What should I do to recharge after 7-hour marathon of taking someone off the edge? I am now trying like heck to be proud I kept someone from drinking, but still trying to figure out how to not worry 24/7. Listen, if this is something that you're going to start to do on a regular basis, then you need to have someone that you can unload to. A professional is the best case scenario, for real. People who talk to people and to try to talk people off of the ledge, so to speak, to keep people from using or from drinking or from self-harm or doing any of that. You don't hang up the phone and have that stop, right? So you need to get very good at number one, compartmentalizing. And it's difficult to do. It really is. I'm not good at it, people. You watch me, right? I lose it. I can't treat people like cases. I mean, it sounds like a decent idea, but I can't do it. It's not something that I'm capable of doing. But back to, I'm sorry, hold on one second. Chrissy, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere, please. I am a criminal addict recovering from everything. Okay. I'm dating the former county commissioner from Nevada, and I pulled him out of another creepy cult called, um, let's keep it real. Cults suck. Well, I'm glad that you pulled him out, and you know what? Um, I'm a criminal addict recovering from everything as well. I mean, truthfully, I could never seem to get addicted to alcohol, because it didn't take me in a direction that I wanted to go. Um, it was never a buzz that I liked. However, I managed to abuse just about everything else, and I abused alcohol. I just never got very good at enjoying it. For me, it was always a means to an end. Like, I had done way too much blow, and I wanted the night to be over. I would drink an ungodly amount of booze, right, to try to go to sleep, that kind of thing. But it was that's never really been an issue for me. But I'm going to tell you straight out, people, um, that the last 3 days have been an incredible test for me. And what's really funny is, um, I I ate that Valium and drank the beers before any of the stress, before any of this really came on to me, right? As I said, I have spent so much time backsliding. I had spent so much time, right? Uh, just heading in the wrong direction. Um, and and doing just enough to convince myself I wasn't, right? Dangerous. Dangerous. Problem with doing this job too, right? It's super easy to BS yourself that, yeah, I'm taking care of me too. And I'll tell you something, that when 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 I really get on it, when I really like get lost into this, and you're gonna go, Tommy, that's really uncool, and you need to, right? But I literally will get to a point where I forget to drink. Now it's all good. I have made arrangements for this, right? Um, but absolutely, yeah, it is. It is a very. This is a difficult job, but it's a great job. If I was going to confront people, if I was going to confront people, I want a conversation. I want a legitimate conversation. You understand? So if I was going to do it, I would want these people. I would want them to understand. I would say, does it not freak you out that your religion tells you you can't research your religion? What? Are you honestly told to not look up your own religion? You can't look up a friend of mine, right? His name is Aaron. You can't look up my friend. I can't send him over. You're going to love this cat. He grew up in Scientology as well. I would like to see a legitimate conversation, right? Hey, man, why would this be a problem? Why would it be a problem to hear what someone that probably was in Scientology longer than you were, what what his opinion is? Really, honestly, how dangerous could it be for you to listen to the cat? Well, it's kind of scary that they're telling you can't, right? I mean, come on, people. If they're telling you you can't talk to anybody, if that's not scaring the hell out of you, right? Then sadly, you're in a cult and you're deep into it. As opposed to yelling things, right? I mean, sometimes it's hard, People don't want to engage in conversation, and it's it's not easy, right? To not look like, I mean, especially out in LA. I mean, let's be honest. When you watch the stuff in LA, there are groups of people going after the squirrels. You got to be an ignoramus to not see that, right? For real, man. Those guys are out there doing, guys and gals. I'm sorry I use that term because I'm from the Northeast, but there's the ladies and gentlemen out there that are the Squirrel Squad. They're killing it, killing it. They're killing it to the point though where they're scaring the cult. I really think they are. I think they're scaring the crap out of the cult, and I think that they're taking they're escalating, and that I'm worried for I'm worried for them. I really am. I'm proud as hell of them, but I'm worried for them, and I just hope that they stay safe. And I just hope, honestly, that they spend a good deal of time together, right? Like, do what you can to not get separated, right? You're always going to be safer in groups. So if you're going to go out and do it, I think it'd probably be a good idea to stay in groups. That would be advice I would give, right? Especially for this particular, type of auditing. A lot of times you see auditors and it's one person. I would always be, my dad looks like Christopher Maloney from Law and Order. No, my dad, you know what's fantastic? Oh, for the love of everything good. Can you please leave this up? Can that please stay up for the rest of eternity? Please, can that stay up for the rest of eternity? Because you know what you mean, Shelley? I know what you mean. You do not mean that my dad looks like Christopher Maloney from Law and Order. You mean my brother. You mean that my brother, Johnny, looks like Christopher Maloney from Law and Order. And I've heard that said many times before. But the fact that you think Johnny is my dad may be the greatest thing that has happened to me in 53 years. Oh, please tell me you really thought that Johnny was my dad. Please make my day. You're going to lie and say no, because you're going to want to look like the nice person now. But that is really, really funny. Midnight Show is correct. They are definitely escalating their dirty tricks, right? People, look, just the criminal in me, that didn't look like a robbery to me, right? That was just the most bizarre, that legitimately robbers all the time will say stuff like, hey man, can you spare $1? The idea being that you want to get the guy to start to go for the wallet, right? But the rest of that, honestly, it looked bizarre is what it looked. It really, really looked bizarre. Just me being me says, I don't understand why people fall for cults, but was almost raised in one until I ran away and called my dad. He was trying to find me. Thank God, right? I'll tell you how it happens. Thanks. The kitty cam is great. Thanks Calhoun for that. Let me tell you something. Didn't take the cell phone. Weird, huh? Isn't that something? Oh man, Aaron has the damage that Aaron has done to Scientology is incredible, and he continues to do it every day, day in, day out, right? And he's the busiest dude in the game, right? Really, the busiest dude in the game. But it is fantastic to watch what he's doing. It really is. Wow, that's funny. Mary Jones says, you wouldn't believe it, but I was at the doctor today and my nurse was a dead ringer for Aaron. I couldn't take a picture because it was in the doctor's office. Yeah, hey, would you mind if I took just a quick selfie with you? You look an awful lot like a friend of mine. Christy Hughes nails it. Cult dynamics are very tricky. If you walked in the front door, right, and I said, "How you doing? My name is Tommy Scoville, and I run a place here that we call Mind Spring, right?" And I think that was used in a movie. And here at Mind Spring, we want all of your money. We would like to control your life. We do not want you talking to your family ever again, right? Because they're going to tell you, that we're bad. So you need to disconnect from all family members, right? We're going to take all of your cash. And by the way, there's a decent chance I'm going to start sleeping with, you know, 5 or 6, maybe 7 of the people in the flock. And for whatever reason, they all seem to get really young, don't they? Okay, well, nobody starts that. That's not the pitch, right? You don't walk into a place and they sit down and say, "All right, what do you think? Huh? Sound good? Sound good? Doesn't that sound like a good time?" That's not how it's done, right? It's not how it's done at all. What they do is they'll put out a course on, hey, how would you like to learn how to communicate better, right? And those courses are legit. And guess what? The entire world needs to learn to communicate better. They're not stupid. They're very intelligent in their tactics. Take a free personality test. Right, we're gonna do a personality profile. Tell me everything about you. Right, give me give me enough so that I can market to you. Right, and you do voluntarily. You tell them all kinds of stuff. And we did the same thing when I was in sales. Like I've described this before, but we would talk about a 2-part sale and the setter, right? And a lot of these guys came directly from Scientology. The greatest setters in the world all came from Scientology because they were the most cutthroat people you will ever meet in your life, right? I mean, literally, just they were the most cutthroat on telephone guys that you would ever come across. Right? They're used to calling and taking huge amounts of money from people, and they would tell me stories of calling on Christmas Day, literally calling on Christmas Day to take cash from people, right? To get them to buy their way up through the bridge. But it doesn't start that way, people. It never starts that way. It starts like everything else. The easiest way. What am I doing? I'm sorry, people. Sometimes, again, the old gray matter, it ain't what it used to be. Most of us here are drug addicts, right? Of some kind. All right. Drugs started out great, right? Like the first time you did drugs, they didn't go, all right, give me your house, kick out the wife, right? You just destroy your kids, right? Gotta go. I want all your money. Shut down your bank accounts. You're not going to be able to possess a gun ever again. Can't live here, here, and here. Let's see what else. Right? Did you get that pitch? I sure as crap didn't. I took a couple of hits off a joint. It felt fantastic. Right? It was the same principle, wasn't it? There was something in my life that made me really uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden I found this substance that took that away. Right? I found a substance that I started to smoke that made me feel comfortable in my own skin, right? For the first time ever. And I thought, wow, Christy, your arms and mine, millions of dollars, no question, millions of dollars in dope that I put in my arm. Yeah, there was a movie made. Frank Sinatra played the star. It was called The Man with the Golden Arm. Absolutely unbelievable. Nominated for an Academy Award for it. And I'll tell you what, he does an incredible job of depicting someone kicking heroin. It's a tough movie to watch. I'll tell you now. If you're a recovering heroin addict, I would give it a lot of thought before watching it. It's very realistic. It's a tough one. We are all human beings. The lucky ones are on the boat. Tampa Bay, there's a lot of truth to that, man. There's a lot of truth to that. This stuff here, this stuff here is so damn real. It really is. And every single day, it it comes back every day. I get reminded again and again and again that um, we really are. We really are all better off, right? Taking this much time and effort to be kind to one another, to take a little bit of interest, right? A little bit of interest goes a long way. Asking someone how they're doing, not pro forma BS questions. Hey, how you been? How are you, man? Seriously, Chrissy Newton says, is there one thing that helps a user that is on the cusp of sober to stay sober? I try to explain the fallout and the former issues from the substance. So one thing that helps a user that is on the cusp of sober to stay sober. So the window of opportunity is open on this person. This person is on the cusp of sobriety. Um, it regardless of where you're at, right, in sobriety, the idea is going to be most of the time the reason that someone is afraid to quit is because of the fear of the pain that they're going to go through. Whether that pain is from the withdrawal in that process, or whether the pain is every day at 5 o'clock when my day is over, the ants are going to take over and they're going to tell me what a piece of crap I am. And they're going to tell me that my mom and dad didn't love me as much as they loved my brother. And they're going to tell me that, kids beat me up in school, and they're going to remind me of whatever, right? Your first bad sexual experience, whatever, right? All of those ants begin to take you apart. So my advice is always this: look, when trying to beat anything, right? You can't do the same stuff that you were doing and hope that you're going to change, right? It's not just a cliche, but to do the same things over and over again and expect a different result is absolutely ridiculous. But it's what we do, isn't it? Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to drink during the week, right? I'm not going to drink during the week. If I don't drink during the week, I'm going to be fine, right? Then we get loaded during the week, right? We keep setting, right? We're incapable of controlling our substance. So we have to stop altogether. So if that person is truthfully on the cusp, right? If they are truthfully on the cusp, then what you have to say to them is this: your life is going to go in one of two directions. And God bless you because you are aware, right? You are aware that your life is going to go in one of two directions. And it is astounding how fast 20 years will go by. I'm driving my son around, and 13 years of my son's life, I was gone. Right. And, he's a grown man. I promise you, people, it's moving faster than you think it is. My pitch to everybody is this one. When you were 12 years old, did you want to be a junkie? Remember in school when they said, Tommy, what do you want to be when you grow up? Did you say junkie? Did you say alcoholic? What do you want to do for work? I want to panhandle to get enough money to stick a needle in my arm so that I don't get sick. I want to be the first kid in my school to go to prison for bank robbery. Right? That'll make the family proud. Ask them what they wanted, because there was a time when every drug addict had a dream. There was a time when every drug addict, right, had human emotions. We couldn't deal with them, so we drugged them away, right? People have to realize that you can get off of that crap, right? It's a symptom. It's a symptom. If we can get the symptom away and actually treat the problem, right? People, today was a day as bad as any I've had since walking out of prison. True story. And I have lost how many people, right? Today was as difficult as any day that I have had since I walked out of prison. I had a couple of screaming matches. I acted like a real jackass on more than one occasion. And I'm not going to get high today. Right? That's what I'm not going to do. I am going to journal really hard. I'm going to do everything within my power to make tomorrow morning's Tommy Scoville a crapload smarter than today's. Right? Seriously. While this stuff is fresh enough in my mind that it's not gone, I'm going to disassemble how I screwed up every way I did. in the last couple of days, right? Why? Because I don't want to do this again, right? I don't want to do this again. This may come as a shock to the people that are just starting to quit, right? It may come as a shock, but you can get to a point where 2 or 3 months go by where you don't ever think about getting high. 6 months, a year go by without ever thinking, oh man, would I like to jab a needle in my arm? Or, oh man, would I like to smoke one? Whatever your drug is, whatever how you did it is. You can go 2 years without a fantasy or without even thinking about it. I don't want you to think that this is an everyday activity. It's not. I'll tell you something. I was as rough today as I was on the day my dad died. I don't mean as sad because I wasn't even close to as sad, but that feeling of the inability to control my emotions, the inability for me to stay in control is such a frustrating feeling, and uh, it's beautiful. Um, it's beautiful to come on here and just open up. Thank you, Rhonda. Really, really appreciate you, and I love that symbol. I always tell people I love that symbol. Thank you so much. It's what? It's not doom and gloom, people. It really isn't. It sounds like it is, but Lacey, thank you so much. A month goes by quick. Your ants are extraordinarily loud and relentless today. The darkness is darker today than it has been in a long time. Holly from Texas. While these ants are getting louder, are you remaining in the same room? Are you doing the same thing? Because if the ants begin to get louder, right, our first line of defense is to change all of our inputs, right? We don't have a lot of them, but we see things, right? We smell things, we hear things, we taste things, we touch things, right? Okay. Get the hell out of the room that you are in that are causing ants to be loud, right? If you're in the living room and the ants are loud, get out of that room, right? What happens is when you go outside, you go to a different room or whatever, and your eyes start to look at different things, and you have all of these new stimuli coming in. As sad as it is to think about it in these terms, you're the dog at the park, man. Things are really bad. I can't believe squirrel, 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 squirrel. Right? What just went by? What kind of car was that? What's that smell? Right? Listen to that sound. Everything is different, right? The wind on your face. All of a sudden, things are different. Now, I'll tell you a secret. If you let ants run wild, right, they can keep you in bed for 2 months, 3 months. You can go into clinical depression, not be able to move, literally keep you in stuck position. It absolutely is something that can happen. Here's to finding your dreams again. They aren't lost, just sleeping. I'm proud of all the work you're putting into your journey. Christy Caldwell. Christy, thank you so much. You know what? I had Christy is someone that I correspond with regularly, and just somebody that works on herself constantly. Somebody that literally every day is trying to be a better person than the previous day. And boy, does that make me happy. Right? It really does. I mean, that's one of those things. Oh, by the way, the weather is horrendous here. We're talking about windstorms in ways you have not seen. If you happen to be in Arizona today, you will appreciate the windstorm. I'm astounded that we've made it 48 minutes. If you really want to know the truth. But yeah, the weather is really bad, so it is probably our connection. I apologize. Hold on one second. I hope I didn't miss one. But showed her Ant's video. I said not once alcohol helped situation. I told her drinking would elongate the pain, and knocking your kids out due to the drink and getting them to trust you is enough. You know what? I want to tell you something. Breaking the chain. If they have kids, oh my God, breaking the chain, right? Breaking the chain. People, the promise, right, of a child not knowing a mother or a father that's a drug addict, never seeing that, right? Or, or watching them overcome it and beat it for real, not lying about it, right? Don't put it in the closet. Don't hide it. I mean, that's what we do, isn't it? Seriously. Well, we don't talk about it, but your uncle really had a problem with, oh man, why not? Right? Because we're shamed. Because we're shamed. You're bad friggin' people. That's why. I'm not going to talk about it. Your uncle was a drinker, right? That's bad people. He's a bad person. We're not going to talk about it. Well, that's what it tells us, doesn't it? I mean, am I off base? What the hell else does it tell us? I mean, it's sad, but it's true, right? I don't want. Oh, look at the kitty. Look at the kitty. Oh, oh. I'm telling you, she performs. She performs on demand. Cat's a professional. Tampa B says, I disconnected from my mom for 5 years. I'd do anything to change that. She forgave me like it never happened. Moms and daughters are eternally connected. I have, during the course of my backsliding, um, I said things to loved ones that that are inexcusable, and there's nothing that would have come out of my mouth um, in the last 8 years. Right? Uh, I've lost control over the keeping my words from being weapons. You know, there is a danger, right? Truthfully, there is a danger in being a really smoking communicator, right? Because you can you can really be a dick when you start using words in a way that aren't good, right? I'm sorry, Doc. Wow. Doc said my father died 3 years ago. Didn't talk to him for 18 years because of drink. Wow. How did Squirrel Nut Zipper get her awesome name? All right, Janet G, you're not going to believe this, but I'm going to tell the story. This is a true story. This is how Squirrel got her name. Uh, you may have noticed that very often I start talking in one direction and I head off in another direction. Um, I don't always continue to follow the thread through the entire show. Is what it is, right? So when I said I was going to get a cabin cat, we started to talk about how we were going to name him or her because I wanted a female. Hold on one second. So the crew voted on a bunch of different names, and we narrowed it down to about four. And they voted on the name Squirrel. That's what they wanted to name the cat. So I went into the shelter and I picked out the oldest kitty that they had in the shelter, which was 6 months old, and it was Squirrel. And when I put my fingers in the cage, she came and laid on me. She loved me instantly. She adopted me, and from that moment forward, right? I ran over and said, "Hey, I want the cat in cage 3." And the woman said, "There's 180 cages here, dude. Like, I don't know what 1-3 is. Go on there and take the name off the cage. There's a name card and bring it over here, and we'll adopt it." Right hand to God. I took the name card off, and on the name it said Squirrel. So her name was Squirrel, voted for by the crew. However, we did not have to change her name. The paperwork that you get when you adopt it has its original name and then the name that it's changed to. We didn't bother with that. Her original name was Squirrel, and the squirrel nut zipper part is just it's a tip of the hat to an old swing band. Played some pretty cool tunes back in the 90s. I believe You and Me and the Bottle Makes Three tonight. Yeah. Question: if you start saying things out of character for you, is that a warning sign for your family, Tommy? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not going to lie to you. They were calling me. Um, um, they were voicing their concerns. But you see, one of the arrogant problems of drug addicts, especially ones that get sober, is that um, once you feel like you got it under control, right? Um, once you're not using it, you're not getting high. Well, that then becomes the answer to everything, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Somebody comes up and says, "You notice you're not doing this anymore, or you're doing this, which we weren't doing before." Hey, am I getting high? Seriously. I mean, am I getting out and getting loaded? Look at the kitty. Am I getting out and getting loaded? What am I doing that's scaring you? Right? And the attitude, I mean, first of all, the attitude shouldn't be there anyway. Right? There wasn't an attitude before. There wasn't. But the combination of moving here, right? Um, the combination of moving here and the heart thing, Johnny friggin' dying on the floor. I mean, we've had a hell of a couple of months. My brother literally quit breathing and went blue in this house, right, from dehydration. I had to work on his carcass and then get him to the hospital and go through all of that. And I've been hospitalized, what, 3 times in the last 4 or 5 months? I've had some pretty rowdy diagnoses. And in the midst of all of this, I'm traveling. And this is an opportunity that I'll tell you what, I'm not missing. Eh, Sometimes there are opportunities in life. And as I've said, I've told you guys what this is about. This is my life story, is what this is about. And the possibility of my life story. Yeah. So I'm gonna go see if my life story can't become sold. And this is something that my friend from Surviving the Survivor has been trying to talk me into doing for a really long time. I'm not a fan of writing. However, there's some possibilities for some ghost writing and some other possibilities that um, I'm looking into it. I'm definitely looking into it. And but I want to tell you something. I'm gonna have days. Look at her. I am gonna have days. Um, it's gonna have a happy freaking ending. I promise you. I promise you. Um, that's a lot of bad stuff going on, right? I mean that's a tough run. I'm not going to lie to you. That's a tough run. And on top of that, there's been a lot of people that are really close members of the boat has lost people that that I was very very close to. It's been a hell of a year. It really has. Um, Write a pilot for NBC. The funny thing is, these days, uh, oddly enough, I think people are trying to write pilots and bring them to us, except their reality show ideas. Look at that kitty. Is she great or what? But my boy is here, and honestly, I love my son more than anything. I've told the story a million times. But, the day that they brought the day that they brought Spanky to me and handed him to me, I've it's never been I've never been the same. I haven't. That day was it was life-changing stuff. I'll tell you something. This is a true story. It's one of the it's very difficult to look back on a life of drugs and find anything that you can even be remotely proud of. But I remember when all of it came out, and I had sent my wife to rehab, and Spanky was in counseling, and I said, you know, we were talking about his mom, and I said, I'm a heroin addict too. God, I am as well. And he said, no, you're not. No, you're not. And I said, yeah, I am. And he said, no, you're not. She is. You're not. She drank, right? So Spanky saw me putting his mom to bed a lot. Like, that was pretty obvious stuff, and it's hard to hide. And the other thing is, when you're a drinker, mornings are really tough, right? I got up. I got up with Calhoun. I don't care how bad I was sick. I don't care how bad life was, for real. I got up with him. And that was one of the things it was one of the only things in my life, people. Doesn't make me a good human being. I promise you it doesn't. But it was one of the only things in my life that I thought, you know what, man? I'm not ever going to be that dude. I'm never going to be the dude that just says, I'm not even going to take care of, I'm going to get up and take care of business. He was shocked when I told him I was a drug addict. And that to me, it's not much. It really isn't, but it was at least something. I tried really hard to not. I'm glad my son is here too, Becky. I really am, and it's going to be a in the long run, people. What this does for my stress levels are incredible. I mean, what this is doing is really streamlining the things that I'm not good at. I mean, this is a pretty good indicator right here. The squirrel cam is cool as hell, right? And that's just one example. You have actually met my daughter, Brianna Miller. I have done a show with Cedar. You have not seen her. I am really, freaked out by a lot of the people that dislike me. I have a lot of people who really, really dislike me, and for that reason, I'm not going to put my girl's face on. My son will throw down with you. Spanx Calhoun would give you a run for your money. Seriously, he's got some belts. Kid did a lot of martial arts growing up. I'm not too concerned about Calhoun taking care of himself. I'm really not. But I'm not going to do that to Cedar. Would I ever do a meetup? Oh my God, yeah. We're going to. We're absolutely going to. I am planning this. I am absolutely planning this. My brother and I have talked about it. I've been talking about it forever. I know a lot of people have reached out to me and said if Reese and I were to do a tour like that, if we were to hit a city, that people would show up. I think, you know what? Even the people that don't get the Tommy and Reese thing, I think I get it. I really do. I just don't think that we see men and women argue without screaming at each other. Like, I don't think anybody sees that anywhere. And she and I do an awful lot of arguing. We really do. But it's kind of flirty and fun, and no one's yelling at anybody. And even if we're disagreeing, we've had some disagreements that weren't great. But I think there's something really cool in watching people. Communication it's not dead. And when people actually perform it, it's pretty wild to watch. Last question, people. Gotta run. Question: what about when you don't have ants, but are just having a craving? Same thing. Absolutely. People, whether it's ants, whether it's cravings, the average craving, you need 7 minutes. You need to rewire what you're doing for 7 friggin' minutes, right? It doesn't stick around. You go, oh no, Tommy, it does it all day because you let it. Right? If at the first sign it starts, you go, screw this, and you put something else there, right? Everything, key it up, right? Get some adrenaline moving, drop, do 10 push-ups, walk outside, get some deep breath, shake it up, right? Change your environment radically. Do whatever you got to do, right? You really only got to get through about 7 seconds, right? Change that mindset. Your brain can't think two thoughts at the same time. I don't give a crap who you are. You can't do it, right? Two things are not going to occupy the same place at the same time. So if you're struggling thinking about dope, start thinking about something else. Feel me? And Hummingbird, you're amazing. Love you. Really do. So glad you're here. Lori R, thank you. And you know what? I'm so happy that you caught us live. I mean that. I really do. Stress.